It's no secret that beef exports benefit every sector of the U.S. cattle industry, but it's important to remember that trade is a two-way street, and the U.S. imports a significant amount of beef each year. Kent Bacus, NCBA's Associate Director of Legislative Affairs, gives us some insight into the basics of beef trade.
Well, a lot of people have questions about why we import beef. When we produce so much here in the United States, why do we export beef and why do we import beef? And I think it's important to understand that we live in a global economy and we're very much a part of that. What we produce here in the United States is a highly sought after product. The people really enjoy the taste and the flavor and everything that is with U.S. beef. And it's in high demand all across the world. But we actually, 90% of what we produce here in the United States is consumed here in the United States, and only around 10% is exported. And as far as exports go, those cuts are traditionally cuts that just aren't very popular with American consumers. Things like beef tongue and some of the offals that we can't really sell to American consumers. They just don't have a preference for it, but we can get a premium for it in a lot of Asian markets. And so what would traditionally go for $2 a pound here in the U.S. can go in upwards of $20 a pound in the Asian markets. So that's a very important thing to understand. At the same time, here in the U.S. we really like ground beef. And since most of the cattle here are finished on grain, we need to import some of the leaner meats, and so we import that from countries like New Zealand and Australia and Canada. And that is taken and mixed with U.S. beef to make a lot of the ground beef that we buy not only at the grocery store, but in restaurants all over the country. 2012, we saw a record year of exports, tremendous demand for U.S. beef all over the world. Sales were very high, especially in Asia. Japan, we saw a tremendous amount of growth there, over $1 billion in sales for U.S. beef. And Canada was also a $1 billion market. So this has been a fantastic year all around. We're seeing a lot of growth in Asia and in Latin America. With the implementation of the 3 new free trade agreements with Korea, Colombia, and Panama, we're really looking to see a lot of long-term growth in those markets where we have an emerging middle class that really wants to make protein a bigger part of their diets.